The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are the Bostonian versus the book.
You covered! You covered 12! Covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a President's Day holiday edition, Monday morning / Monday afternoon episode of the Bostonian versus the book. He is Dave Sharapan. I'm Matt Perrault. We are live on our YouTube channel, as we always are, at Boston versus the book. Same on Twitter, X, replayed on Sports Grid Television. I'm thinking because it's the holiday, I think we're on Sports Grid and on Sirius XM channel 159 on most nights. We'll see how it all plays out here today, but I'm in Boston, Dave. You are in Las Vegas. What's the temperature in Vegas?
I had a doctor's appointment this morning, and it was 53 when I left. Yeah, so and it's sunny.
It is currently 51.4 degrees here in the basement in New Hampshire.
So Las Vegas, the high currently 57 degrees right now, and the high 60. And it's what in the basement?
Yeah, currently 51.4 degrees. Currently where I am broadcasting out of here today, because it is a balmy 22 degrees here in New Hampshire after a foot of snow that fell overnight, and now we are being followed up by 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So it is full blown, straight up.
You might get those things they call snow drifts.
Oh, there's plenty. There's actually like a 1.5 feet of snow up against the house. So yes, there's quite a few of those snow drifts hanging around here. So I do have a space heater down here. So we have built this whole entire setup. So we're not completely frozen. But if you wonder why I'm wearing a hoodie, normally I don't wear hoodies on the show because I have to do it in order to figure it out. It's it's blustery is one word to say that, guys. These are my Boston guys who are dealing with the same temperatures that we're dealing with here in northern Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire. It has been a wild day because we get the wind in Vegas, but it's just like blowing around dust and dirt and sand. It's not blowing snow like it is here. No. That's a different type of feeling when you're getting that 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts whipping across your face with snow, which is what today is.
Cold wind is just period cold, no matter where you're at. But that's
it feels like 3. That's our temperature.
Feels
today.
like 3.
Yeah. So
should be fun. Joe C. Myers said 14, feeling like 0 here in Leavenworth, Kansas.
Now that's a different level of cold.
Okay.
I have felt that Midwest cold. There's nothing blocking. At least I got the mountains here to break up the wind a little bit. He's got nothing. It just comes down the plains, and it's. I often I try to put myself into the shoes of somebody who was coming out to the West. Whenever I was living in Omaha or Iowa or Kansas in those areas, I was always like, people actually had to survive this outdoors when there was nothing here. Like, how did they do that? How did they survive? Like, you get why people died. Like, if you watch the show 1883, there were 90 people that started. It treks this group of settlers that go from the Midwest to the out to Oregon, but there were 90 of them, and like 20 of them made it. Like 70 of them died.
Yeah, you just I
70 people died on the way out.
If you imagine you're going to Iowa right like today, and Whitrock says in the chat it's 2 and feels like minus 13 here in Iowa.
Right gosh.
Now. I mean, and if you were up by Detroit in 313, JPC said it's 17 here in Detroit right now. So we did roll call Friday while you were flying.
I watched a little bit of it from the plane. It was the first time I was trying to get into the chat, and the chat really wouldn't work. But I could watch you guys and listen to you guys. But I couldn't get into the chat. I was trying, and just for whatever reason, it doesn't really compute with YouTube. But it was fun to watch you guys do Roll Call Friday up at 30,000 feet.
Right. No,
I had a 700-mile-per-hour tailwind coming from Vegas. So like when you fly,
that had to shorten the flight.
4 hours and 5 minutes
to Boston.
It was the
That's
fastest
the
day.
shortest flight I ever heard to Boston from Vegas.
It was so fast that we had to wait on the tarmac. We couldn't take off. They pushed us. We sat in the tarmac for 45 minutes before we took off because we were going to be there too fast. So they're like the tailwind just isn't going to be insane here. And then we got up to 34,000 feet. And it was 700-mile-per-hour tailwind. The pilot was like, "You don't normally see 700-mile-per-hour tailwinds, but that's what we're dealing with here. So we're going to be there quick."
That's
I was like, "That's awesome."
That's
imagine
incredible.
going the other way, though. Yes, if it was going the other way, as Addison says, yeah. Imagine it being a headwind. That could be a problem. That could be a major problem if you're going back west.
No, that's and that happened to some people coming out for this FSGA thing. They all got delayed and they didn't get in last night. Like they were supposed to land yesterday in the middle of the afternoon. They didn't land till midnight. Like there was all kind of things because of the weather back east. So we did Roll Call Friday. If you missed it, go back, watch the show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that stuff. Newbie stepped up, did a good job. But you guys weighed in from different places. As you come in today, let us know what your temperature is wherever you're at, because there's a lot of unders. I mean, there's a lot of unders today.
This is a cold part of the country, cold part of the year in the Midwest is like the Northeast. Absolutely an ice block at the moment. Almost a goal there for Finland. It's currently 4-0 Canada over Finland in the Four Nations face-off. Team USA will play later tonight. We'll talk about that. But let's talk about the Four Nations face-off and what this tournament is currently doing to the conversations around All-Star games. I know you were, like I was, on Saturday night, glued to Team USA versus Team Canada in Montreal, in which we saw 3 fights in 9 seconds. And I don't know anyone, and I had friends of mine who were texting me because they were watching the NBA and they forgot about hockey. And they said, "Why in the hell did I watch the NBA? And what did I watch with the NBA when I could have watched that hockey game?" Could we see this influence the future of All-Star games because of the number of people who have been glowing watching this Four Nations tournament?
I don't know. I don't know if you can get this level of commitment in every other sport. I don't know if you can do it, but I know hockey players want to play, and hockey players want to play this best on best. They keep using that expression. Give me best on best and tell them this is what it's going to be, and they'll roll out and play. I mean, do you remember what the Ryder Cup was like?
Yeah.
Like every time they did it, it was team and it was country, like international.
Right.
And they played, and there was energy and fire and excitement. And then afterward, they shook hands and went back to their teams. And golfers went back to just playing golf. I loved it. I was on the edge of my seat. I had a busy day Saturday. Kendall volleyball game in the morning. This Little Rebels 10U team is trying to get me back on the field. And I went and watched. I spent the whole day at the softball fields on Saturday. And I was like, "You guys, I know you got a night game, but I got a game I got to go watch." And I went home and settled in. The whole pregame hype. I got home at 4. The game was going at 5. And
any problem with the booing of the national anthem?
What are you doing? I mean, just it's a sporting event. So I understand why they're doing it. I wouldn't do it. Would you do it?
No, it's classless.
It's just like
there's no need. There's no need for Canada. I know Canada has a lot of emotions going on right now, and I know that there's a lot of things happening geopolitically that has people's attention. But come on, guys. Because I hope we don't, because Thursday, because Canada's going to win this in regulation, up 4-0. I hope Thursday night, which, by the way, if you want to go to that, get ready to have a luxury car payment times 3 to go ahead and go to these things, because get-in price is like $1,500, and any seat worth anything is like $5,000 to watch Team USA in Canada. And that was before Canada played today.
You're lucky I'm not there.
You would go?
We would be trying to find our way in. I'd be pulling out every move I got in the book. If I was like, because I said to somebody, I said, P. Rhoda's in Boston for this.
Yeah. I want to go. We looked. Amanda and I we watched the whole game. She was glued to it. We watched it, and she's like, "When's the championship game?" I said Thursday. She said, it's here? I said, yeah, it's here. She's like, well, what are tickets? So I went and looked at it and I showed her. The last seat in the house is $1,300.
Yeah.
To get in price is $1,300. And then it goes from there. And that was before this game here today. So this is an awesome, I mean, Boston's going to show out for it, but I really hope that people that are in that building do not boo the Canadian national anthem. I fear that it's going to happen simply because for retribution's sake, but
I don't think so.
I hope it
don't
doesn't.
know.
I hope you're right.
I mean, they were fine today when they played the Canadian national anthem.
Because nobody was there.
And
that's what everyone said. It's 2 tickets. So they split the tickets. It's a 1 p.m. and a 7 p.m. So everybody in the building right now has most likely Canadian ties. All the Americans are coming tonight for the USA game against Finland.
Oh,
I mean,
you don't
against
get
Sweden,
like
sorry.
a day ticket.
There's not 2 games. It's one. It's split tickets. So because we were going to go down because Brooks is sick, unfortunately, we were going to go down in between, do the show after this game's over, go down to the Fan Fest that's down there because it's free, but it's outside. And Brooks is sick. So it's like it's not a good idea to go out in 20
Bundle
degrees.
him up and take him down.
I
Where
don't
is
know.
she at? I'll talk to her about it.
It's an
Please.
outdoor fan fest for this because it's
Just
supposed to
go
be pretty
down
cool.
and
Today's the
go
last
to the
day of it.
merch shop. Right.
Yeah.
It's the last day. That's what I mean. Go down there. They're going to be giving that stuff away right before they close. Go get a hat, something.
No, that's not a bad idea to head down there.
I saw someone, I forget his name, Pete, somebody tweeted
Blackburn?
it. Yeah, I think it was Pete Blackburn today.
Okay.
Tweeted a picture. He was multiple pictures from inside the merch shop. And I'd be like, I'd 100% be down there. I'd 100% be trying to get it because the game now with Canada winning this.
Yeah, tonight
the
means
tickets,
nothing.
Tonight's games.
Yeah.
That, you probably get in for a decent price.
Correct. Yeah. And because they're resting everybody. McAvoy's not playing tonight. Hellebuck's not playing tonight.
Kachuk's not playing
Kachuk's
tonight.
not playing tonight.
Yeah, Otter's playing net.
Yeah, but I would bench everybody. Anybody you can bench, I would bench tonight. If I'm the coaching staff for Team USA, no one's playing because Thursday's going to be. These guys are coming in red hot, like just absolute red hot. You're going to be careful with Canada because they're going to be so pissed off after what happened and all the heat they got scoring 1 goal on Hellebuck. They're going to be flying around.
The beginning of the game was completely not expected. At least, like, as you build up all day to the game. And you got an unbelievable game with Finland and Sweden. I mean, turned into a 4-3 overtime game that was a nice precursor. But the build up to this and all the different highlights and everything else, and then you realize, all right, opening faceoff, Matthew Tkachuk goes, and Brady's sitting there screaming, yelling as it's going. They clear out all the sticks and the gloves and let them go. Then they line up for the faceoff, and Brady says to Matthew's teammate, Bennett, we're going. And he steps up and goes against a small guy and a big guy. If you weren't standing up at home, you immediately got up out of your seat. Then there's a whistle in front of the net, and JT Miller does the thing that I used to do, just accidentally skates into the goalie to piss everybody off. And that guy for Canada 55 was looking to take somebody's head off, and he stepped up and did it. I mean, that was super level intense. And I kept tweeting, this is not an all-star game.
Nope.
I don't ever want to see an NHL all-star game again.
Nope. I mean, I think we have to at least acknowledge, like you mentioned, that we wouldn't see the buy-in necessarily. But again, you made mention of it a couple of days ago when we talked about this, because the baseball classic gets played during spring training. Baseball might struggle to do it mid-season, but there's no reason why the NBA couldn't do something like this. And the NBA couldn't do some type of all-star game, unlike what we just watched, that I didn't see a single second of it because I had no interest in it yesterday. I was watching Daytona. Like, I literally watched a NASCAR race before I put on the NBA all-star game, to tell you where I am on that, how interested I was in watching this new format that made no sense. It was confusing as hell, and the OGs and Tatum's playing with Curry, and I'm going, this could look great in Boston one day. Like, that happened, but no thanks. So the NBA's got to do something or cancel it. Even Kevin Durant said it today. People like complaining about the NBA All-Star game more than they like watching the NBA All-Star game. Why don't we just cancel it?
I retweeted his tweet.
Cancel it.
And I don't just normally just retweet stuff. Like I
Right.
actually think about it. When I read his tweet, I'm like, listen, he's giving out same game parlays and doing all this other stuff, and he's coming at people when they say, when he says, "Don't yell at me about your parlays, pick your parlays better."
Yeah.
And he's right about a lot of it, and he was right about that. I loved the NBA All-Star game. It was a February thing.
You loved
always
past
watched.
tense.
Always. Yeah. But I'm talking when we were in the early 80s. Like I remember watching it when Magic and Bird were in it and went and different things. And then that whole time and watching Jordan, it was best on best and they took pride in it. And I tried. We watched it yesterday, with Kendall, and Mr. Beast was was on there, and there was a guy who got a contest win to shoot a shot. He had to make one logo shot before Damian Lillard made 3. And if he did, he won $100,000.
Did he do it?
Damian Lillard made 2 and then missed a bunch. Like he and this guy kept missing.
Oh.
I don't know. But then, when Lillard had 2, he missed 2 shots. And each time Mr. B said, this is probably going to be your last chance. And then Lillard missed. And then second time, Lillard missed. So he took the shot and he banked it in. So he won the $100,000. They picked him up and threw him in this big vat of dollar bills.
Oh.
It was so awkward and contrived and forced.
Yeah.
And there's Christian Hastings says, yes, it was on purpose.
I believe it.
It sure looked like it. And again, I don't want to say sports are scripted, but man, that looked like
that was sports. That's not sports. That's a YouTube gag. It's Mr. Beast's game show that he started on. It's on YouTube, or no, it's on Netflix. It's his game show.
That's what they turned the NBA All-Star game into.
Fair. Yeah. And that's what
show.
And that's why it's dumb. And look, it's why I didn't bet a single dollar on it, nor would I bet a single dollar. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch any of it. Not even I watched the Mac McClung dunk contest highlights. I watched that because it was everywhere. So congrats to that kid for winning 3 straight dunk contests. But that's still, no one's doing that anymore because Mac McClung is a 3-time champion of the dunk contest. Like, are you serious? Like, he did some pretty cool dunks. I'll give you that. But that's
ironically, he's not in the league.
No, he's a G League player. He's not any good. He's not any good. He can jump. He's got an insane vertical. That's what that guy can do.
So is it awkward to you that a guy that is not good enough to play in the league, but is good enough to do the dunk championship, the dunk contest, and win it
3
multiple years in a row?
3 in a row. It's embarrassing to the league because nobody wants to do it. No one actually is in the league wants to be a part of the dunk contest. So they have to get a G League guy who probably shouldn't even be in the G League is part of that only because they need him to be a part of the NBA in some form or fashion. Otherwise, he's some dude off the street, like with an and one video, like a mixtape video with the professor back in the day. You're putting him back into like an NBA event. It's a joke. I mean, it's an absolute joke that LeBron's never done it. Guys Kevin Durant's never done it. Guys that you would want to see do dunk contests because they're all afraid of being embarrassed. They're all afraid of losing. They got too much to lose, nothing to gain. Nobody knows who Mac McClung was 4 years ago. Now most NBA fans know he's the white guy who can jump. So that's what
we can watch him in the dunk contest, but we can't turn on like the Charlotte Hornets game and see him play.
Yeah.
Or the Sixers game and see him play.
He's not an all-star. He's not an NBA all-star, which is supposed to be an NBA all-star event. They just make different rules for different people to kind of go in there.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Like it was compared this week to hockey, what we've seen. And then Saturday culminated in just an electric game. And yes, it started with fights, but they had to just settle that out.
Yeah.
And Keith Kachuk fought Claude Lemieux in an international game. So the boys started off the game with a fight in Montreal to get their bench going.
Oh, yeah.
And it worked. It got everybody going.
I couldn't believe it. It looked like a minor league hockey game to me. It was so wild to me because I've been to numerous minor league hockey games where the place is buzzing, the teams hate each other, and the fans hate each other, and it's great theater. And then the puck gets dropped, and then bang, the gloves hit the ice immediately. What I thought was really cool, and I'm forgetting on the color commentator's name, but he said it. He goes, "We're not going to play 2 seconds before another fight is about to go down."
Ray Ferraro's on.
Thank you. Yeah.
Ray
Ferraro.
Ferraro's in the
And Ray,
middle of the benches.
he said up to Sean McDonough. He said, "Guys, we're not going to play more than 2 seconds before we have gloves again." And I was like, "Shut up. There's no way. We're doing this again." And bang, right away, we did it again. And then the third one was like, "Jiminy, what are we doing?" Like 3 and 9 seconds. And the audio of Kachuk, I think it was Matthew talking to the referee, was awesome. He was like, "How about that?" He was like, the refs were like, "That was incredible. What are you guys doing?" Like even the refs thought it was wild.
You could see the benches. I mean, John Cooper's the coach of Canada.
Yeah.
And Torts was assistant coach of the bench in US. And they were going nuts. Like it's hockey. That's the culture. That's whatever it is. And if you don't like it, don't watch it. But the people that did watch it and like hockey loved it. And want more of it.
That's why, I mean, I tweeted it and people were coming at me saying like CTE. And I'm like, look we've had this conversation on this show about human beings liking violence. And when we all accept that human beings like violence and we're okay with violence in a controlled setting, it changes the conversation around the NFL because it's what the NFL is so afraid of. The NFL has been petrified of the CTE lawsuits and just the old public perception of mom's not going to let Timmy play football because football is too dangerous. Well, hockey parents don't worry about that. I mean, Mass Mutual has got an advertisement that is hysterically funny. If you guys have seen it or not, it's two fathers talking, and the kid, there's a guy in a onesie in a baby holder. He's like, "Is he on skates yet?"
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, you must be saving for college then." Like it's just.
Well, no, he goes, "He's 6 months old." Is the dad's reply. And he's like, "Oh, so you're saving for college?"
Yeah, like he's not skating yet. He's 6 months old. So like that's the hockey culture, and that's the difference. I think when it comes to an NHL 4 Nations type tournament, where I didn't hear anybody talking about the danger and the worry of going, "Oh my gosh, they had 3 fights in 9 seconds. This is really dangerous." Where in the NFL, we have those conversations constantly about star players getting hurt, star players, not being. You touch a quarterback now, you simply like whisper into his ear and a flag's coming out and people are freaking out over it. So people like violence, and the NFL needs to wake up, because while you can say the NFL has never been more popular, that might be true, but the ratings are dipping and people are starting to ask real big questions. People were bored by the Super Bowl. Like I can't remember how many conversations I've had with people about how bored they were. They were psyched for the Eagles, but they were so bored by the game.
I got texts on Saturday night from people going, "This is already more exciting than the entire Super Bowl." 9 seconds in because of the fights.
Yeah.
I said, just watch the game.
Right.
Like, we're just getting started. Did you see McDavid take that pass from Doherty and go skating 25 miles an hour in between two guys? McAvoy looked like he was trying to go backwards, but looked like he was stuck in molasses. And he can fly. McDavid cuts through there and shelves it. I'm going, we got a game now.
And then McAvoy lit him up and put McDavid on his ass.
The whole game. Oh my Lord.
Lit him up.
Which
was awesome.
God. Oh my God.
You
when
get hits on
McAvoy
McDavid
made
like
that hit, that bench, that crowd, I mean, like everybody knew, we're here to play. I got text from Brother Doug. Brother Doug had a hit like that in college. I was on the bench. He did he was a freshman. I was a senior, and he did a crossover backwards and lit this kid up into our bench, where I stood up and told the kid his name was Britt. I was like, "Britt, stay down. Stay down." I said, "Baby brother got you." I was screaming. When McAvoy did that, and it was McDavid, that woke everybody up.
Mm-hmm.
Across all fans, everybody, and then they scored. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like that is physical. It was clean.
Yeah, completely
wasn't
clean.
A cheap shot.
No,
wasn't nothing. That's players respecting each other.
That's the best player on the planet getting hit like that in an exhibition game.
Crushed.
Like that's
And
an
he got
exhibition
up.
game.
He
Imagine
got up.
Patrick Mahomes. It's Mahomes getting hit blindsided during the Pro Bowl. That would cause massive people to freak out about the game and the future, and we can't do this and everything else. It was an unbelievable moment. But would you bet Team USA tonight? They're minus 190.
I wouldn't bet anything right now.
Right? I mean, it's 4-0 here.
I got under 7.5 in this game.
You should be good
with the total.
I took Team
Canada. I had
Canada.
a unique bet that the market that opened up that piqued my interest was first period result and total. I forget what it was called, but it was Canada to win the first period and both teams to score
in the period or in the game.
Yes, first period. You could get it in the first period. So you could pick the result sidewise and then bet yes.
So 2-1 final. 2-1 after one.
Well, so you could bet Canada and no.
Okay.
So
wow.
I thought Canada's going to get a lead, and then it was live during the game.
Oh.
So it's not even pregame. It was in game.
Wow.
And I go, they don't have a clue how to price this. If Canada scores first, I don't think Finland's going to score more than one goal the whole game.
They haven't yet.
So I went Canada and no. And right before they scored, and it was like minus 200. Then it went to minus 360, and then it went to minus 800 after the second goal. So I bet it early, but so I had that, and I got under 7.5. So we'll sweat that out. I wouldn't bet nothing in the second game.
I agree. No, I mean, Team USA,
everybody, right?
You're punting on it. They don't need it. It's all about Thursday. But I bet Team Canada to win the event at plus 160 today. So I thought they would win.
That's good because that's going to be, I mean, it's going to be pick 'em again.
Right. So then I bet Team
USA will
and
probably be slightly favored because the game's in Boston and some people will bet that. But that game is going to be, I mean, you want to talk about just, I'm going to say it every day between now and Thursday. If you're going to watch one hockey game, watch it on Thursday.
Without a doubt.
Just stop what you're doing.
But watch the whole thing too. Watch the pregame.
Watch the whole thing.
Watch the national anthems.
The whole thing.
Everything. But Boston's going to show out because the weather's going to be okay, not great, but good enough for people. Like the outdoor broadcasts for TNT and everything they're going to do for it for the final is going to be absolutely the best thing. The best sporting event this week by far is going to be Team USA versus Team Canada on Thursday at TD Garden.
Without a doubt.
Canadian people are going to clamor to get in because I already saw it on Twitter. This is Canadian people believe typical Americans. You win the round robin, we win the whole thing. Like that's been
they might.
I'm not saying they're wrong. They're the better team on paper. I mean, there's no debating on that. You may need a Kachuk fight in the first 9 seconds again. You may need something to spark Team USA. And look if I'm Team Canada, I'm not playing Jordan Binghamton in net. Like he's a liability for them. So if I'm looking around, that's your weakness.
I don't know. Pirotti's playing now. I mean, they're not going to change goalies. They're not changing goalies for the final.
They should. I wouldn't play them.
They would have changed goalies. I think they would have played Otter today.
Yep. And that's who. If I was Canada, Jordan Binghamton's a problem. Like that guy's a problem against Team USA. That guy's their number one Achilles heel for why they will lose this thing. They will lose it because of the goaltending that they've chosen to play in net.
It wasn't his fault the other day. The USA played just such a good game.
Connor Hellebuck's the best goaltender in the world,
and he was calm as could be. He led in the
He's
first
the best goaltender
goal,
in the world.
And
because somebody tweeted it. Someone said, "What the hell happened to Canadian goaltenders? How did America become so much better at goalie at the goalie position than Team Canada?" And it really is true.
I don't know.
There's a lot of really good U.S. goaltenders, American-born goaltenders in hockey, and Canada's got to roll with Binghamton? Really? You're rolling with
him? I don't know. He has a Stanley Cup.
Okay.
That's a big accomplishment. A goalie that wins a Stanley Cup is a big deal.
Okay. I mean,
it's a big deal.
Put Hellebuck on that team and they do it too. I mean, like, they didn't win the cup because of him. He played well. It wasn't like he didn't carry them. He had a really good team.
I don't know. Bennington was unbelievable that run for them.
Oh,
St. Louis won a Stanley Cup.
That was the year that St. Louis had all of that defensive energy. You couldn't get a shot to the net. They took pucks more than anybody else.
He
they
made the big saves though. He was good. Yeah. I don't know. It's a pick 'em game. I can't wait to see what the total is.
5.5.
Because if they give you a 6.5 again, I think you got to play under.
Wow,
yeah,
that seems high.
It does.
6.5.
It will be high.
Not to keep on crapping on the NBA. We're not trying to do that, but it's just kind of easy to do so right now because LeBron James pulled out of the All-Star game 2 hours prior to the game starting.
So I'm looking at the chat. Enrique Villanueva said, today's NBA is tremendously disrespectful to the fans. The NBA players don't care. They want to play the minimum, and All-Star Weekend has turned into such a joke.
Yeah.
It's such an FU to basketball fans day in and day out. So he says, and there's another comment there from Enrique. Thank you guys for putting up stuff in the chat. We appreciate it. Try to read it and recognize it when you make good points and stuff, even when you don't, and have fun with it. We try to do it. Enrique says, I'd respect the NBA more if they just shut it down for a week instead of trying to cash ASG weekend while crapping on the fans with whatever that weekend is now. That's kind of, I mean, LeBron walked out in street clothes.
Weird, right? On the intros. That was so weird. Like not even dressed up, not even suited up in like just a warm up. Like you don't have to wear street clothes, LeBron. It looked like the biggest, I don't care about this. And why am I here?
It looked like him saying to somebody, I didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
I told you I wasn't going to play. You made me come, but I'm not even wearing the warm up.
Right.
And I'm telling everybody that I'm not playing 2 hours before, so you can't replace me.
Well, that's the thing that people are criticizing him for. And I actually agree with it because the All-Star game is supposed to be a really big honor. For someone like LeBron, he doesn't care two craps about it. So it would mean a lot to a kid. It would mean a lot to a first, second, or third year player for their contract status, for their contract negotiations, for just the game of basketball, for having them in the game, to play in the game. And you took a roster spot and you didn't tell anybody you weren't going to play because clearly he knew he was not going to play for a long time. Like that was obvious. He was not playing in the game. Just announce it. Say, hey, I'm not playing. Let someone else take my spot. And I won't be here for this, or I'll show up for the festivities, but I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm not going to play. So it changed. I don't know. It was weird. I watched the press conference and like, I was stunned at how cavalier he was about it. Like just how completely and totally nonchalant he was. He got to the podium. He was like, yeah, so guys, I'm not playing tonight. I was like, what do you mean you're not playing tonight? Like everybody in the room was like, we're playing LeBron in 2 hours. Yeah. Ankle. He called it ankle and foot discomfort. Yeah. I got that ankle and foot discomfort thing.
Yeah.
Like he was almost laughing when saying it.
There's betting on it.
You're right.
There's
right.
betting on this. Like they had odds on each team to win it all.
Right.
There was lines for the semifinal games with stuff with him playing. Like when you make the numbers, it's you don't know he's not playing until 2 hours before. So now the whole thing is questioned. Like what are we doing? And again, not that anybody bets it, and not that you ever should. I mean, we'll keep it real as real could be, despite the fact that it will probably cost us multiple sponsors. I wouldn't book this knowing the result because I would feel like I would be whoever bet this either feels like they were stealing
or lied to
or completely had the wool pulled over their eyes.
Yep.
If you didn't bet Steph Curry to win the MVP, what were you thinking?
Right. Yeah.
It was a setup that's the only way that was going to go, no matter what.
Agreed.
And again,
hometown.
These things, sports in general, no, it's not rigged. It's not fixed.
But
something like that last night,
yeah.
If you didn't bet Steph, or at least have at least one ticket on him and had a couple other people, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only way that was going to go.
Mm-hmm. And they won too. So on top of that,
but like you watched LeBron walk out, and I mean, even again, it was me and Jess and Kendall, and Jess turns to me and says, "Why'd he walk out in street clothes if he wasn't playing?"
Because he knew.
I said, "I don't know." I really don't know. And then I don't know whether you like Kevin Hart or not. I don't know whether you think Kevin Hart is funny or not. But there was way too much Kevin Hart last night on that broadcast.
Oh, I didn't watch a single second of the game, so I didn't know
Oh.
anything of it. Really, he was him. Was it sponsored? Is that why?
I've gone to the Harlem Globetrotters multiple years with the kids, and I went when I was a kid. There's a guy who keeps the show moving at the Harlem Globetrotters.
Okay.
He's like the PA announcer.
Okay.
And then sometimes they put it on a microphone on the player, and he keeps the show going while he's playing. They turned the NBA All-Star game into that.
Oh, God.
Kevin Hart was like talking to the players while they were playing on the court, saying, "Oh, stop shooting threes. What are you doing? You know, blah, 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 blah." Like, it was awkward as hell.
Wow.
And it got old in about 4 minutes. So the semifinal games, they played a 40, no clock.
Yeah, right. I knew that. In the final too, right?
In the final, they just played a 40. Well, the final turned out to be a 20-point win.
Blowout, yeah.
Because the team that was playing sat and was like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I missed it. I didn't see any of it. But along the same lines, before the game, Adam Silver was asked, what do you feel about the NBA? Is the NBA in trouble? Is there any issues that you would feel concerned about for the league? And he said no. He said that there are nothing, there's nothing pressing right now. There's no current issues with the NBA. Do you agree with that?
No current issues with the NBA.
Like the game itself, is the game in the NBA, are there any pressing issues that need to be addressed for the game of basketball at the NBA level? It's the commissioner being asked that question, and he said no, there are not. They'll always want to improve and get better, but there's nothing that really made him go, we have to fix this. Like Major League Baseball was very much concerned about the length of times for the games, so they had to shrink the games. I think there is and I don't want the NBA to do anything with this, but for me, there is obviously a large swath of people who are getting very annoyed at the way that the current upper echelon of NBA teams are playing, defending champs included, where it's a 3-point shooting contest and there's not a lot of post-up game and not any real mid-range game to speak of. I don't know how you address it. I don't know how you change it, but teams are averaging. We talked about this a couple of days ago. There was when all 30 teams played, we had the highest number of 3-point attempts. Nearly 1,200 3-point attempts were put up. An average of 37 per team were shot in 15 games involving NBA teams. Yeah. 37 average.
Do you like the dunk?
I like the dunk in games. Yes.
I think everybody likes the dunk.
I'll take it and leave it, but in a game.
No, I mean, in a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
A dunk. So there used to be a time when everybody was there were too many dunks. It felt like everybody was trying to get on SportsCenter and there were too many dunks. So then now they started shooting and now there's too many threes.
It'll change. It will absolutely change when teams start to defend differently. It'll change.
3 is still more than 2. There's an inherent problem with the scoring of the game.
Yeah.
When you can, have the analytics people, AKA whatever you want to call them, the math guys, the nerds, the this, the that, when you figure out possession time and time on the clock and how quick you can get shots up and whether you can shoot an average percentage, you're going to score X number of points. That's the way they're going to play the game.
Yeah, I come from a different perspective on this because I remember, so Greg McDermott, and I know college and pros are different, but Greg McDermott, when he was the coach of Northern Iowa, had a football style playbook. He had 300 plays. It was this thick. His team had to learn 300 different sets. Then he went to Iowa State. He started coaching NBA type players, and he brought his 300 playbook, 300 plays with, and it didn't work. Kids were like, I want to play up tempo. I want to run. He ran a very methodical offense where you basically look like the Hoosiers offense. You had to pass the basketball 4 times before you shot the basketball. You had to use the clock. You bleed the clock down, shrink the game. Don't give up, don't turn the ball over. Don't have live ball turnovers. He got fired, essentially. He didn't get actual fired, but he got run out of town in Iowa State. He went to Creighton. When he went to Creighton, he realized, okay, hold on a second. The game is changing. My way doesn't work. And so he had his son. And obviously, when you have a player like Doug McDermott, who wound up being the Naismith Player of the Year and breaking scoring records everywhere, it was easier to do this. But they went up tempo and they started to shoot threes. And it didn't change for a couple of years. It took for other programs to catch up to what they were doing. And now everyone does it. It's going to happen in reverse. We're going to start to see big men, because right now, if you pull a 7-footer away from the basket, that's a victory because he's not rebounding. So you're like, okay, shoot that. If you want to be out there, go ahead. Well, now we've got the Porzingis of the world. It used to be Dirk Nowitzki. Well, now there's like 4 guys in every team, like Victor Wembanyama, who are shooting threes at 7-6.
And shooting it good.
We're going to see defenses extend. Okay, we're going to see defenses start to say, look, we're not going to give you that shot anymore. We're not going to allow you to have the look, and that will bring back the back to the basket big, because you're going to leave the rim unprotected. You have to just go play out. Once we extend defenses, I really do believe this. Once defenses extend, and coaches have to be comfortable with this, because you like dunks, right? Guess what happens when you have a rim open in the NBA? It's 2 dribbles, and I'm hammering it on you. That will be the change in the NBA if we keep on seeing this number of 3-point shots be put up.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. My solution would be to just have every basket count as 2.
No,
free throws count as 1.
You can't do that. The 3-point basket changed the game of basketball for the good.
Is it?
Oh, definitely. It made end of game situations far more exciting. It made games shooting far more exciting. I mean, the 3-point shot is the best rule change in my life.
I loved it, but I don't know if it's ever going to go back to basketball the way it was. And it doesn't have to, as long as whatever it is evolving. But it's not. It's not going back. 3 is more than 2.
Correct.
And
the analytics, the math is there. You're right on that. The 3 is more than 2.
Yeah.
And shooting mid-range jump shots is now seen to be a swear. Like, that's a curse word to shoot a 10-foot jump shot.
Oh, they tell you that. Literally tell you that. You can't do it. Don't do it.
I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, what? They're like, yeah, don't shoot a 2, shoot a 3.
Right.
What's the point of shooting that 15-footer? Make sure it's behind the line. Step back. You're losing a point. And the funniest thing is when coaches say, look, I know you're going to shoot 45% from that 10-foot shot. I'd rather you shoot 37% from behind the arc.
From 3. Right.
Yeah. That's the one theory that, like, back when we were playing, that was always like, and I'll admit, watching teams run fast breaks, and it happens in college, and the Jays just did a ton of it with St. John's, where you watch the fast break and the guy's got a 2-on-1 and the kick out pass to the wing happens for a 3-point shot. You have a 2-on-1 advantage. You could go 2-on-1 for a layup, and instead you're kicking it to the 3-point shot that will hit, 35% of the time. But they would rather that shot than the guaranteed 2-point basket. That philosophy is why basketball is having a problem right now.
Yeah, I don't know when it's going to come back, but the running the football and football is coming back is how to defend against whatever the offenses were doing. What was all right? We'll keep the ball.
Right.
Maybe taking the shot clock down consistently when you have a team that you can score,
right?
Whether it's 3s and 2s, like maybe they'll hold possession, because now we'll shoot it with 13 seconds left on the shot clock. Like, get it up and do that more, and then we'll get more possessions. So I guess the way to play it would be, well, now we'll limit your possessions by keeping the ball longer, bringing the scoring down on our side, because we're better at rebounding, we're better at getting 2s, and we're better at getting to the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I always try to think of it like, if I'm coaching, how do I slow down this, whatever it is? Like, how would I go about beating the Celtics? I wouldn't let them touch the ball nearly as much as they are. That's the only way I can figure it out right now.
Fair.
If you guys are watching the show, put your solution to the game with the current state of the NBA. Matt's question there. There's no issues with the current state of the NBA.
That's about Adam Silver.
Adam
Silver
said that. Agree or disagree? If you have something that you like to put it in the chat right now, watching it live, or put a comment in after the show if you're watching on the replay. Bunting is in baseball is becoming a lost art. It is
dead.
It really is. But
dead.
but in playoffs, and stuff, when you need to get a run or need to move a runner, a guy that can bunt is worth $100 million.
This is a wild idea. This has been floated before. So NBA contracts are guaranteed, but having a player be forced to appear in a certain number of games to get his full value of his contract is something people have floated on for a long time. The PA is pushing, like really pushing back hard on this, but this has been floated by a lot of people that you end it. If you say, hey man, you have to appear in 70 games, 60 games, 50 games. I know there's been some addition to this. I can't remember the exact language, but people have basically said that you have to play or you don't get paid. And that might have to be the case going forward.
It's fine if that's what you want, but like if you don't have the pride to play and you're just going to say you're playing to get your appearance fee or your contract money, but you're not really playing.
Right.
Now I got to worry about, are you playing and, you're telling somebody you're only playing 3 minutes and you're going to tweak your knee. I don't want to think that. You can't mess with the integrity of the game. Players play, owners pay. If you can't agree that you're going to do either or, the whole system is breaking down.
Yeah.
And now they tell them when they're going to play and when they don't, but they don't tell them until 2 hours before the game.
Even the All-Star game, even something as big as the All-Star game didn't matter. I mean, it's crazy. It really is nuts to think about it. I don't know when the last time we talked NASCAR on this show. This may be the first time we've ever talked NASCAR on this show, and it's only for Daytona. I don't talk about this. I don't have any real knowledge. I'll talk about it for Daytona,
right?
Because it is one of the weirdest things in all of sports. And I have been saying this since I worked in Alabama back in 2000, that the biggest race of the year should not be the first race of the year.
Right.
It takes away, because I had a ball watching Daytona yesterday. I bet it. I had Chevrolet. William Byron was in 9th place on the last lap. Gigantic wreck. He comes from the clouds to win the thing, to go back to back to win a second straight Daytona 500. Awesome final 50 laps, which again is the best nap of your life. It stunk because the weather kept on getting in the way of those naps yesterday, because they kept on pushing the start time and stopping and starting. So that sucked because of the rain that was in Florida yesterday. But this really pisses me off. This should not be. This should be the last. Daytona should end the year, not start it. Am I wrong? It's the only sport that does this. It's the only sport where their Super Bowl is the first race out of the gate.
So I worked with a couple guys who really were NASCAR guys, and we would get the numbers from them. And then when NASCAR was racing during COVID, I had to do the numbers and stuff. I was like, "This is."
Thank God we had NASCAR during COVID. Thank God.
I know, but we were taking bets on it.
Yeah.
So that's when I really had to pay attention, because there's always something else going on.
Right.
For me, getting ready for spring training now. The hockey's in full swing. The basketball's in full swing. College baskets is everything. So it was always deferred to the NASCAR guy. Just, you're working and you're like, all right, they bet this guy. They bet the same 6 guys to win the race all the time. Daytona's awesome because there's usually a pile up or 2 or 3 that result in somebody winning or not winning.
There were so many wrecks.
Yeah,
a couple of the wrecks that were just, I mean, cars went airborne yesterday, like flat on, like flipping around. And like, there's, Ryan Priest Ryan Priest needs to go and find a priest, because that guy someone's mad at him, because at Daytona, he gets into the most insane wrecks, and it shows you the technology, how great it is, because at 200 miles per hour, this guy keeps on flipping around in like 18 different ways and walks away every time. Which thankfully, but like if I was his family, I'd be like, what are we doing? Can we skip Daytona? Like we don't like you and Daytona do not go together. It's dangerous as hell. But I mean,
so my producer, and I don't know if you remember, but Vinny, drove down, from Jersey to go to Daytona.
Yes, last night.
So he went down, and one of his best friends, his best friend's girlfriend, and his best friend is divorced and has 2 kids. So they took the kids down too. So they went to the race.
Wow.
They were there by 10 a.m.
Oh no, it's a long day.
Was the longest day ever.
Oh, it's a long day.
He goes, we were all fired up, and we get in there, and then they delay the race. and then I
3
got to
times.
go. Right. He said it took forever.
Yep. 9:30 it ended.
Right. So he was sending me videos like of
Nice.
them racing around, and for car people, this is great.
I've been to Daytona. I've been in Talladega. I've never been to Daytona, but it's something I would go to. I've been to New Hampshire. I've been to the Poconos. I've been to Bristol, and I've been to Talladega.
You never went to the race here in Vegas?
Oh yeah, here too. Yeah, sorry, here in Vegas too. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, in Vegas too. I just haven't been because I used to do. I've had thousands of jobs in my life, but I used to do the Joe Nemechek show. So his son, John Hunter Nemechek, is now driving full time for Toyota. He was in the race yesterday.
Okay.
Cole Custer, if you watch the race, this is really inside school, but in Canada, Cole Custer intentionally wrecked John Hunter Nemechek, wrecked him, and in the truck series. And there was almost a full-blown fist fight. Hunter went to his trailer to go and fight him. Cole Custer has been a guy that I have not had a lot of respect for a long period of time. He caused the wreck, the gigantic wreck on the second or third lap. He couldn't hold his water. He was getting too nervous. He was hitting guys from behind, and bam, everything, all hell broke loose. 15 different cars went crazy because he was just too anxious and too out of control. And I was like, of course, it was Cole Custer that would have started that. John Hunter almost wound up like in the top 5. He finished 9th in the race, which is his best race so far on that. So I was in love with watching that race and going for John Hunter Nemechek. There's so much interesting bad blood that goes on with racing and watching these races over the years that when you sit there, I've been in the box. I've been in the pits for Pocono, for Vegas. And I think that's it. Pocono, yeah, only those two because Vegas and Pocono. So I've been in pit boxes for both of those. And when you see the race up close like that, you have a whole different respect for what the guys who go over the wall. I'll fight anybody. It takes cojones the size of Texas to go across the wall and go and change tires, knowing what could happen to you. Like every time you go over there, your life could be dramatically over and changed.
Yeah, it's really interesting because was never a NASCAR fan growing up. I mean, just always appreciated for what it was, but never paid attention to it, never bet on it.
There were 2 sports I've had to eat crow on: MMA and NASCAR.
Yeah.
When I got down to Alabama, because in Virginia, I didn't have to cover it all that much. It was big there, but I didn't have to cover it all that much. I was doing college basketball and college sports. When I got to Alabama, I had to cover Talladega. I was on the air the next morning after Dale Earnhardt died. And when Dale died, it changed a lot for me. But I used to be like, it's the stupidest thing, like drive fast, turn left, drive fast, turn left. This is stupid. Why do I want to watch this? I used to call MMA human cockfighting. I used to be like, this is the dumbest sport ever. It's guys in their underwear rolling around. Why do I need to watch all this?
Well,
fact,
I went
on both topics.
I went to the race in Phoenix and had a pit pass, and it changed my perception of the whole thing. I sat in the pit for almost the entire race.
Did they give you headphones?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun when you can hear the what's being communicated. It's very cool.
Well, they were speaking English, but I didn't understand anything they were saying. And not because they had a drawl or anything.
No,
they were talking
words,
on a different level
Yeah.
of stuff. You hear the spotter,
Yep.
you hear the guy in the pit. They're saying these times
Yep.
constantly. The
Yep.
other guy's watching the fuel. The other guy knows exactly what the tires are doing versus, because it was starting to heat up the day we were in
with
Phoenix
tires, yep,
and all this other
tire
stuff.
wear,
And they were like, and then you watch one pit stop that's successful. It was better than winning a Super Bowl for those guys.
Yeah,
and I was
right.
like, this is so, I mean, Brother Spoke and I were there. So we saw that. And I mean, you talk about MMA. I went to a MMA show at Red Rock, like in a conference room.
Oh yeah.
And sat
UFC
where I could like feel the sweat hit me next to the cage. And I was like, this is not a joke. This is, these guys are going to beat the crap out of each other. And that sound, like you said, just sounded, everything sounded different.
So
and I was like, okay, so you have to have an appreciation for it. But again, I ain't watching it. That was the NASCAR portion of the show, boys and girls, maybe for the entire year.
No, that's it. Right. Because it's just Daytona. It pisses me off because there's nothing else to talk about except maybe the chase, maybe you get into the playoffs. But I think NASCAR, whenever I thought this was a bigger conversation point for NASCAR when sports gambling went legalized. because they really tried. They were the ones that changed the sport dramatically for gambling. Like they added the what do they call it?
What,
Not
NASCAR?
segments. Yeah. They added the segment races. There's like 3 races, the races inside the races. They kept on
Like
adding different ways to bet.
Heat
Yeah.
1, Heat 2.
No, it's called that's for the duels and for Daytona. I'm see how much of a NASCAR fan I am. I can't even come up with that what they are. But that's where oh gosh, there's a passenger jet that went down. Okay, guys, give us an update on that later. Okay, yikes, in Toronto, looks like another plane crash. That's horrible.
Stages.
But like stages, thank you. Stages.
Yeah,
so like the stage racing became part of NASCAR during COVID, right after COVID, because it was right during trying to adding more intensity, more races, more things to watch, more things to bet on. Who wins the first stage? Who wins the second stage? Who wins the race? You can stagnate that. You can parlay that. You can have all sorts of different things. I bet head-to-heads and manufacturer props. That's basically what I bet. Like I don't do the Hail Mary who's going to win the race, but I hit on Chevrolet winning yesterday because of William Byron, and NASCAR, I thought, had a chance to be a bigger part of the gambling conversation, and it really hasn't. I mean, people that made a lot of money betting gambling on NASCAR over the years.
Oh, they were so far ahead of what the numbers were, and then, somebody started putting up head-to-heads results like me against you, driver. It didn't matter what finished in the race. So that expanded the menu. Well, they were so much better at knowing the numbers and knowing the technology, and
they cleaned up. Absolutely.
They obliterated markets that way. Yeah, the guys I know. Now, listen, there's people that are passionate about it, and there are people that are passionate about it that will bet it. They're two different things.
Mm-hmm.
I think people that bet it and try it watch the race a little bit differently. It
100%.
keeps them engaged the whole race.
100%. And that's why I think they missed the boat. I thought NASCAR would have more of an embracing of it, and they haven't. It was short-lived.
Yeah, and with it being like the problem for a long time was that you had to come to Vegas to bet on NASCAR. Well, now you don't.
Right.
So they should be big in states where NASCAR is big. Like they like putting 20 a race
it's a cultural thing.
5 drivers. I mean, you can have 100 invested in a race that any one of the drivers win, you win money.
Right.
Now you may not win, 7-1, you win 140, but you spent 80, so you really only win $60. But I'll tell you, it's fun coming down to the end, and 4 of your guys are in the top 10 vying for position. So there's ways to bet it, and I love the manufacturer thing. Tino Patino, who used to appear with us on Fridays when we were doing the show on Sports Grid,
right,
would come on every week and talk about a manufacturer bet.
It's easy because it's only 3.
That's what I mean. So you don't even have to know the cars, the drivers, the this and that. Know who's on your roster or who's, and listen to the.
Well, plate races, it's easy because in plate races, 20 of the last 24 plate races have been won by either Ford or Chevy. So there's only 3 manufacturers. There's Toyota, Ford, and Chevy, just 3. And 20 of the last 24 plate races have been won by 2. So it was either Ford or Chevy to win that event yesterday. So take your pick. It was plus 140 or plus 160.
Wow.
For Chevy and for Ford. So I feel like I had some like major insight into everything. I knew one stat that for plate racing. And come Talladega or the next Daytona race or whatever, if you guys are going to bet it, just remember that it's either Chevy or Ford, one of the 2 that will win it.
So look at Onler, Joel Onler, who welcome always in the chat, said top 25 drivers were 22-1 or lower on DraftKings. That's nuts in a restrictor plate race, in my opinion. And then Linus, who's up in Canada, is said, I went 7-2 on NASCAR head-to-heads yesterday. They are so much fun.
They are fun.
They are fun.
If you know, because I do this all the time now whenever I bet NASCAR. The left-hand side where all the driver numbers are, you won't watch the race. You're just going to watch that grid because you're going to see where your guys are. You're going to go, okay, so I got a Chevy at the top. Okay, I got Hamlin's over. Okay, over Logano. Okay, we're good there. Like you just start looking and you watch the race a much differently, in a much different way when you have money on it and you're betting
which is
head-to-head.
okay.
Yeah, it's fun. I think it's more fun personally to do that. It's It's more fun to do that. NASCAR's a fun sweat. It really is. It's a fun. It sucks when the weather came into play yesterday and it got over at 9:30 Eastern time. That was ridiculous. But like, it should have been over at 6.
Been there for 3 days. You're already bitching about the
I'm always going to bitch about that. That's just how it's going to be. But I mean, like, if you're watching, the race was supposed to be over before the NBA All-Star game started.
Right. And
it was supposed to have already, it was not. So like, it was head to head with the NBA All-Star game, which I'll be curious to see what the ratings wind up being for the two of them. But yeah, that's what that happened. Just a quick one on the golf, because the Genesis actually was really fun. That Oberg's going to be. Could this guy be something? I mean, that was a hell of a win for him to come up and rally and get that W.
Without a doubt, he's going to be there.
I had people whispering me pre-flop saying take Oberg, and I didn't do it until going into Sunday. I got 3-1 on him going into Sunday,
which is fine. That's good. It could have been.
It was 22-1 going into the weekend. Fine. It could have been 22-1, but it was 3-1 that I cashed.
It's another one of those things that, like, all right, so now they go to Florida. So what you've taken, I think you have to not dismiss, but Florida golf is different. I think the golf sweats are great. You're talking about the NASCAR sweats. That's fun too. Eron Sean got him 27-1 pre-tournament. Congratulations, nice. Eron Sean.
Nice
That's
job.
awesome.
Nice job.
There's a lot of different ways to do this and to make money.
He was as high as 50-1.
Right. That's what I mean. Tremendous. The fluctuation.
Good for you.
Is crazy.
Wow.
With the golf.
Yeah, Oberg to win the Masters, Tyrone Boyd. I don't mind that. I think that the kid's got a chance to have a big year. I mean, I think people are talking to him a lot. He's about to play here for TGL. So he went from winning the Genesis in San Diego, flying to Florida, where he's going to play here in the second match. There's 3 matches today for the TGL. One just wrapped up, and we got the other 2, which I give the guys credit for playing in a pretty big tournament in San Diego yesterday, flipping around and flying all the way across the country to play in this event here on President's Day.
Well, so they're playing in Florida. The next PGA event's in Florida. So
still, I mean, it's still
it's back-to-back days.
They could take the day off. I mean, Oberg's playing. He won yesterday.
Yeah.
He could say, screw it. I'm not playing. I won the tournament. I don't need to be a part of this. But he's going to be out there. He's going to play today, and then he plays tomorrow, I think, too, against Tiger. Tiger's team plays tomorrow against Oberg's team.
Is Tiger going to play?
Yeah, Tiger's playing in it.
Tiger's back? Okay.
Yeah, well, because he's at the event today, too. He's going to play tomorrow.
Okay.
After the passing of his mom. So that's why he didn't play in his own tournament.
Okay.
Can't play.
Yeah, listen, there's multiple opportunities. The golf is going to be one of those ones and like we know a lot of people that play the golf all the time and talk about it and stuff in the content space. There's a lot of people doing it now. People saying it's the next thing. It's always been a thing, and its build up is like Daytona, where the build up is to the Masters, and then it drops off.
Dramatically drops off.
Inevitably, it happens.
Yeah,
I don't mean the golf heads come after me. I'm telling you only because I know from being in the books. The build up, the Masters is the most bet on golf.
100%. It drops off a cliff.
Well, the second one being the U.S. Open now is good.
Yeah, but the next week, though, I mean, like it goes to the Masters, and the next week it doesn't keep going. It doesn't keep building.
No,
it goes Masters, and the next weekend it's nothing. Like the handle is gone until you get to the U.S. Open, and then it's 75% of the Masters handle is the U.S. Open. That's why they moved the PGA because they wanted to say, okay, we can't do it in August anymore. Got to do it in May. Got to move it up because we need to keep go April, May, June, July, and then come August 1st, golf's gone. Like golf is, and I get why, because people start looking at football August 1st, and they stop betting. And, that was always the big joke with people down south. They used to say, the second that camp opens up for college, the golf clubs go in the garage and they never come out.
That's it.
They're gone. Yeah. Like they don't ever look at them again. And see you next, when the first ad, people used to say golf season begins when Jim Nance's first Masters ad runs. People go get their golf clubs. And they go, hello, friends. They go get their golf clubs and they start getting ready and they start playing golf in mid-February right now. Not here in New England. There's 2 feet of snow on the ground. But people down south, they're getting ready for golf.
Wow. The U.S. Open is at Oakmont in Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice.
I did not know that.
There we go. Gorgeous course.
Yeah, we might.
Legendary course.
Thank you, WV Punch Drunk One. We might have to be
290
making
par
phone
3.
calls.
Yes.
we might have to be making phone calls. I covered 2-day tournaments at Oakmont.
Oh, wow. Really?
It was called the Family House Invitational back in
Nice.
the day for KDK. But that's, just piqued my interest on that.
So there you go. So
Very curious.
So we got the US
Gold,
Open.
by the way, for Finland. It's 4-1.
Oh, you're
With
good though.
6 minutes left.
You're good
in
for
the game.
7.5. You're good with
Stop
that.
saying it, please.
You are. You're fine. Unless they pull the goaltender, then maybe you got problems.
Stop talking.
I have no influence in all of this. So the New York Post is reporting that when Aaron Rodgers was told that he was not going to be retained, that he essentially begged for his job, that he had a desire to stay, and that he had to accept his fate like a man going to the gallows. That Rodgers pleaded with the Jets, don't cut me, don't cut me, don't cut me. And the Jets just said, yes, sorry, we're cutting you. Goodbye.
Do you believe this?
I don't believe this. I can't. This is character assassination. This is because the other rumor is that the Jets told him, you must quit the Pat McAfee show. And Aaron said, no, I'm not quitting the Pat McAfee show. And then they said, fine, you're cut. So, like, I don't know what to believe about this, but the New York media is getting fed. The New York Jets hate Aaron Rodgers. Like, it is clear he pissed off a lot of people in that building that him either not showing up for training camp or the way that he behaved or something. But they're torching this dude on the way out.
Wow.
And I don't know where he plays next year because I don't know what is a logical place other than your team in Pittsburgh.
Stop. There's no chance.
I think it's a chance. I think it's definitely a chance. I'm not saying there's no chance. There's 100% chance he plays in Pittsburgh next year.
How does he sell them on this?
Sell who?
The organization.
Tomlin? You have a
The
guy
whole thing.
He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's 41 years old. He's got
no baggage.
Of course there's baggage. It's Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, Mike Tomlin says I can control him. I'm good. I got Russ in line. I'll do the same thing coming up here for Rodgers.
Ask the chat right now. Give him a poll. If you were the Steelers, would you take Aaron Rodgers? Yes or no?
Oh, come on. The answer is no. Everyone's going to say no to that.
I don't know. There might be Steeler fans that go, listen, he did win a Super Bowl, but I don't think so. I mean, we got Steeler. There's no way. There's no way. I don't think so.
So how do you want to word this?
Alternative?
Would you sign or will they?
No. If you're the Steelers, would you sign Aaron Rodgers? Yes or no? Would you sign Aaron Rodgers? Yes or no? Period. You don't even have to say if you were the Steelers. Just if you were to, would you sign Aaron Rodgers? You're running a team and you need a quarterback. Would you sign Aaron Rodgers? Yes or no? If you are Pittsburgh. No.
Because your team is shopping Justin Fields right now. He asked to be moved.
I don't blame him for that. Like, I see what Nikki's asking me questions. Dave, would you rather have Wilson, Fields, or Rodgers as the week 1 starter? Nikki, question. Do I have to? How about none of the above?
He wants none of them.
How about none of the above?
But what's so crazy is your organization, this is the first time in my life where the organization appears to not know what to do with the quarterback position. Like, even when they were going through the Big Ben, post-Big Ben years, they still had a pretty good idea as to what they wanted to do.
Well, they were trying stuff like
right.
Mitch Trubisky. And
they drafted quarterbacks to come in. They had guys who they thought were going to be the heir apparent. And
Mason Rudolph was that really considered? I mean,
mid-round draft guys. Kenny Two Gloves. He's right, Kevin. Kenny Pickett.
So they took their shot
with Kenny Pickett. You're right.
They tried. Yeah, and it didn't work. And they pivoted quick from it.
Matthew Stafford to Pittsburgh. What are we doing? Wow, really? That would be wild. That would be a home run right there. If the Steelers got Matthew Stafford. Whew. Now he's pissed off, and he's right to be pissed off because Cooper Kupp getting shipped out of town is, he's owed. He's got 2 years left, Matthew Stafford, on his contract. So it'd have to be a trade if he can force his way out. But Cooper Kupp is leaving. They're going to save $7 million either by trading or cutting him. And that's pissed off Matthew Stafford something fierce that they're cutting Cooper Kupp.
I'm okay. I mean,
You want Matthew Stafford on your team. Yes.
That wouldn't be bad.
He just sucks in the cold weather, as we saw in the playoffs.
Which might be a problem.
In Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is one of them places where the road games are not easy either. I mean, Cleveland, mess. Right. Cincy can be cold. Baltimore, terrible.
Yep.
So we need a mutter in Pittsburgh. Big Ben was a mutter for a long time.
He's great at it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Jeez, I don't know. Who is saying this? I don't know if I believe this, that they pleaded with him. He doesn't seem like a guy that would plead with anybody.
Fair. I would agree with that point. Yes.
I mean, it'd be like, the only thing he would be pleading with them was, why did you make me come back here for this? You could have done this over Zoom.
Over the phone, right? I didn't have to do this.
Right?
Yeah. Concerned.
Tyrone Boyd, what?
The way they wrote it was
for us. No.
Aaron Rodgers, concerned that his career could end with a whimper. Rodgers at 41 aggressively urged the Jets to stick with him for another season or two over the course of multiple conversations last week, according to a well-placed source told the New York Post.
Boy, if this is a setup, or like they're saying this to say this, or say that he said this and they're doing it, I don't know. I don't know. The whole story sounds like malarkey.
Only because the reason why I find it wild is because we heard that he was told, you must quit the Pat McAfee show in order to continue being the quarterback here. I didn't buy that. But the fact that it's not just that he was told, he was begging to stay at the same time. Like if he was begging to stay, he would have said, yes, I'll quit Pat. Like it doesn't square to me. Like, those are two different things. You must quit Pat. No. Well, then we're going to cut you. No, please don't cut me. Like, wait, what? Like, what's what? Like, I don't understand that. You would just stop doing McAfee to stay with the Jets if you were, quote, pleading with the Jets.
Can you imagine? Like, I mean, I got dear friends that are on Pat's show. Mm-hmm. And, Pat has been on our show. And so have every guy. I think every guy on Pat's show that works on Pat's show has done our show.
Yeah, Nikki.
Everybody.
Boston Connor hasn't. We haven't.
Connor did it this second year, did he not, in Arizona?
I don't think so. I don't think we've had. He's the one we haven't. Ironically, he's the one we havened had because I would remember it. I think he's the one. I mean,
we did a stand up with Foxy. Yeah. We did a standoff with Mitt. We did a stand up with those guys. It's gold.
Pat,
all that stuff. Yeah,
like we did the second year. AJ came on. Nikki came on the set. Yeah.
Right.
I think everyone but Boston Connors come on the show.
Right. Zito even did it. Like we were giving him stuff about the Bears, and it was just so like they told him to stop doing that show.
Yeah, supposedly. Said if you want to be the quarterback here, you can't do that. You cannot do the Pat McAfee show. And he supposedly told them
have to do with the other.
Well, airing dirty laundry, talking about the team. They wanted him gone. They were just looking for different ways of getting him out. Like I think it was just all angles. They were trying to play whatever card they could play to get rid of Aaron. They were going to do that because the new coaching staff wants no part of him.
And okay, so just like part ways.
Yeah,
like send them out, whatever. But I feel like this was like they're getting the last word.
Oh, this is somebody sticking a shiv in the back. Like this is trying to make it more difficult for him, making him look weak, right? Oh, you were begging us to stay, and we said, get rid of you. Goodbye.
Bizarre.
We don't want you. I don't understand it. I don't really buy it because if the McAfee story didn't happen, I probably would buy this. But because the McAfee story came first, I have a hard time buying that Aaron Rodgers was begging anybody for anything. It's not Aaron Rodgers like to beg. The Chiefs have told Travis Kelce that he has till March 14th to make a decision whether he's going to play or not.
So today's February 17th, so he's got 30 days
to make a decision as to whether or not he's going to play or not. This is the greatest tight end to ever wear your uniform, arguably. Some argue, you can come up with different opinions on different players, but you got a 3-time Super Bowl champion on your roster, and you're going to tell him when he has to make a decision? Fair?
Some business is business. Right?
Oh, I 100% agree with this. The Chiefs are done. The Chiefs want him to walk. I would agree with that point.
Chiefs don't want him anymore.
Yeah, the Chiefs want him to walk. They want him to retire. Make it easy on everybody, Travis. Just walk away. Had the worst year of his career. Was a ghost in the Super Bowl. Non-factor. Dropped balls.
They want him to walk and not play anywhere else, or they don't care?
Retire. No. I think they'd rather see him retire. I don't think they'd rather have him play.
I mean, because if he goes to the Chargers,
weird uniform. Yeah. I
that would be something. No?
Remember, who are we talking to?
Or if he goes to the Eagles.
Oh, no. Was it, who are we talking to? Was it, I can't remember who we were talking to, who said that the Kelsey, when they re-signed Mahomes, that the Kelsey contract was done essentially to have it be a poison pill, that he was not going to come back after this year. That everything, I think it was Kincaid that told us this, that the Kelsey contract was written to have this be his last year.
Okay.
So if he stays next year, they owe him like $36 million or some ridiculous number that they owe him guaranteed. And so they never were going to pay him it. So rather than cut him, and they will cut him if he wants to play.
Right.
Travis, just walk. Like, just retire. Let us do a big send-off, huge video, plan the retirement ceremony for your 87 number. We're going to retire it, for the week of whatever. And you and Taylor can go live wherever you want to go and live. If he goes home to Cleveland, I would. That's not crazy, Nikki, by the way, though. If he wants to play, it's not nuts, because there could be some decent quarterback play happening next year in Cleveland. Like, we'll see who the Browns have at quarterback. There's some options there.
Is that really an option?
To play in Canada, to play for the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah.
Or for Kelsey to go there and play. I mean, the whole podcast is based. The whole
Finland
podcast
just scored again.
You're fine.
4-2.
That's 7.5. You're fine.
40 left.
You're fine.
Yeah.
7.5. I told you, you're fine.
I've had an empty net for 3 minutes, and
that was going to be the issue. But what did they do? I mean, that's the point. The whole podcast between the two of them, right? It's all about that garage beer thing that they got, and their whole podcast is all based around Ohio, is it not?
I don't know.
So
I can't see him playing in another uniform, but I mean, there's a lot of guys that finish their career.
I mean, Gronk
Wetzel said it to me on Friday. I think it was Wetzel. Somebody said it. They remember Emmitt Smith in a Arizona Cardinals uniform. And
I mean, Gronk played in a Tampa Bay Buck uniform. Brady played in a Buck uniform. I mean,
they had success, though.
They won a ring. Yeah.
Like, if Travis goes to play in a Browns uniform, it's going to end
poorly,
ugly. Yeah, it's not like the Browns are making the playoffs. He can go play with Joe Burrow and maybe make the playoffs, but
oh God, he's going to again. Could you imagine if they want? Could you imagine they do that?
This is
well, there goes. Sorry, Nikki.
My lifetime.
I killed
it's
you.
4-3.
Sorry on that.
It's 4-3.
That's great. How much time left?
A minute. A minute 17. 4-3.
But here's the problem, though. Canada's not the one scoring. It's Finland that's scoring. So it's the team that's pulled the goal to, not the open net. It's not the open net that's burning you. It's the extra skater that's burning you.
That's the whole thing. I mean,
well, here's the thing. If they score again, actually, now I really want them to score, because they score again. Now Team USA may not have to play Canada. Canada needs to win in regulation. If Canada wins in overtime, Team USA can lose to Sweden and Canada's out.
Right.
So, like, they could literally tank the game tonight and say, we don't want to play Canada. No, they want to play Canada, obviously, but they could make it so Canada doesn't make the final if it goes 4-4 right now and we go to overtime.
I don't even want to watch. This is crazy.
5-3 Canada. Sorry, Dave. I didn't mush it for you. There you go.
It is 5-3?
According to Ross, it's 5-3.
There's the empty netter. Unbelievable.
There you go. That's what happens when you get on with me. Make the line for me here. Tyreek Hill is going to race in 2025 against the 4-time indoor sprint champion at the 60 meters, Noah Lyles. They're going to run the length of time, the length of the race. We don't know yet. And when and where, we don't know yet, but they've both guaranteed that they're going to race each other. The world's fastest man up against Tyreek Hill, the fastest player in the NFL. Would you take bets on this?
No.
Why not?
Who's gonna bet it?
Oh, if it gets hyped up and really, I think a lot of people and kids would bet it. If this gets hyped, this has been an ongoing trash talk online for months. These two guys have been going on shows up against each other for a long time. They've gone on with Shannon Sharp's show. Like these guys have been going back and forth for a while at each other. He won.
They did it for social media. I don't.
He
know
won his fourth straight national championship at the 60 meters. When Lyles won, he held up a sign that said Tyreek Hill could never. After he won. I think books are going to, I think this is wide world of sports for you guys who are old enough to remember wide world of sports.
Yeah, but those were like TV stars and stuff. Those were, I liked when they had football players do stuff, and I liked when they had baseball players do stuff. So it would be wild world of sports stuff. I think that Noah Lyles would crush him, though. Be a huge favorite, no?
That's why I'm asking you. I don't know. I don't know.
I think he would be a huge favorite.
Huge favorite?
5-3 final. God damn it. I had under 7.5.
You should have got
minus 110.
But it's not the open net that burned you. It was the fact that
talking about it was
2 goals.
There were 5 goals scored in the third period, for God's sakes, because of the empty net.
Sportsman, the kids would bet it. I'm telling my brothers would bet it. 20-year-old kids would bet it. You gotta understand what I'm saying. Kids, by the way, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids. Remember, you can bet at 18 here in New Hampshire. I'm always blown away by that. Whenever I drive by the book, I see 18-year-old kids at the book. I
don't know. I mean, this would have to be hyped up, like to the point where
I think this is right, Masalanda. I think it is Jake Paul. It's the same. It's a very similar, like, weird deal. It would be hyped up the very similar way of having. I don't know if the NFL. I mean, I guess it's just sprinting. I don't know why the Dolphins would care, but
they wouldn't care.
It's the same people that would bet Tyson Paul. Tyson Paul was the biggest. Tyson Paul was the biggest handle boxing event in the last 10 years. So I mean, like, if we're going to equate this to it, people are going to watch this and they're going to bet this. They're going to bet Tyreek Hill, who I think probably gets smoked. If I had to, guess,
right,
he gets smoked, but I don't know if he gets smoked. I mean, he's been talking about the fact that he's faster than Olympic sprinters and these guys have nothing and they can't touch him. And Lyles has been clapping back at him consistently saying, So watch for this. This could be an interesting thing. We've had a lot of kind of weird things in the sports world, but this could be the next one with Hill versus Lyles.
When would this take place?
This year,
summer.
This calendar year, 2025. Yeah. It happened this year before football, obviously, before training camp.
Right.
So in the next 6 months, this would happen for Tyreek Hill.
Running 100 meters.
They haven't asked yet. It could be 60. It could be 60 meters.
Oh.
He's okay. Lyles
60 at least I would say it would be closer, because that's on a track too. They would run it on a field
track.
Okay,
track sprints. He thinks he beat him as a sprinter. All right, to baseball. Mike Trout switching to right field.
Good.
He's given up his position to stay healthy.
Yeah. Hopefully it works. Just want to see Mike Trout play a full season.
Don't think this is the answer, but why are you more likely to stay healthy in right field than playing center field? Why is that more like less action?
Way less opportunities, right? Center field, you got to cover so much more ground, and there's balls in the gap on both sides.
But Mike Trout's not he's getting hurt in like weird ways now. He's getting hurt swinging the bat. He's getting hurt.
That's for sure.
So how does moving, like, I don't remember Mike Trout like hurting his shoulder diving in center field.
He did. He ran into a wall.
Okay.
He ran into a wall.
But how again? Oh, okay. So saying he's not going to run into walls in right field? Like,
I mean, you have to change the way you play.
Right. So can you do that in center?
No. Center field has to be center field. You can't half-ass center field. Not that you can half-ass anywhere on the field,
right?
But you get less opportunities in right field than you do in center. So I just think there's way too many things going on in center field, and too many balls hit where you have to go in the gap. You have to go back to the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Right field, keep the ball in front of you. Don't spike yourself going into the corner to pick it up and throw it to the second baseman. Like, relax, I think this will be the most games Trout will play in the past, 5 years. Just
Angels.
stay on the field.
Angels hope so. Stanton hasn't swung a bat in a month. He showed up at camp yesterday and told everybody, I haven't touched a bat in a month.
Amazing.
Should you be concerned if you're a Yankee fan? That it's Stanton, your hitter, because you missed out on Soto. He's gone now. Your guy that you need to protect Aaron Judge has not touched a bat in its late February.
Yeah. He got a lot of leeway after what he did in the postseason last year. So we'll reserve judgment, I think. The Yankee fans are impatient and think they're going back to the World Series anyway.
Right.
So they're probably concerned.
They should be concerned.
Santana, thank you again for being here. Dodgers are still a solid minus 450 to win the NL West. Yes, but over-under is 103.5 team total wins. Yeah. Did you see the lineup? I mean, did you see Shohei over the weekend throwing from the – I mean, seriously, what is going on? The Dodgers stuff is,
It's unbelievable.
I got more hats that say LA on them. And somebody asked me, why do you have all these LA hats? I said, because I don't want to wear Dodger stuff all summer doing the show.
To say LA.
It's because they're going to win every day.
Gamblers moved the Red Sox to 25-1 in the wake of the signing of Bregman.
People were very excited about this.
Until what happened this morning.
Well,
I cannot believe Rafael Devers did what he did this morning. I mean, he basically went there and nuked the entire deal. Bregman's a Red Sox, but he basically said, this is my team. F you. I'm not moving. Not even to DH. The reporter asked, would you move to DH? He's going through a translator. Rafael Devers, would you consider moving to DH? The translator doesn't even get a chance to ask the question. He goes, no. He heard DH and he just said no. Like, hold on a second, dude. I know you were part of a championship team in 2018. You weren't the main cog of that team, but you were on that team. This is your team. I understand all that point. But as a leader, you can't have this, like, I'm digging my heels in. I'm not going anywhere. This is my position. Like, I'm sorry. That doesn't fly in sports. Like, the team wants me to do what the team wants me to do. I'm the third baseman. I'm going to play third base. But if they move me, I'll play where they tell me to play. He was asked,
guys don't do well DHing.
He said he was asked, would you consider requesting a trade if they were to move you to either the outfield or somewhere else?
What did he say?
I got to think about it. Like, wait, what? You just got how much money from the Red Sox?
You're third baseman.
Oh, boy. Like, this is one of those situations where I am like, as happy as I was about the situation with the Red Sox and Bregman coming over, because I think he's going to be an awesome fit, that the Devers thinks that if Cora doesn't play that right, that can be a soap opera all summer long. That could be a big problem.
You got to remember, when you ask these guys this question, you're eliciting a response. What is he supposed to say?
Well, because here's what happened. So on Friday, the GM and the manager both sat down. Craig Breslow and Alex Cora sat down with Rafael Devers on Friday, and they told him what was happening, that they were going to sign Bregman and that they would consider moving him potentially to a different position at some point, maybe to DH, maybe to the outfield, maybe to first base during training camp, that they were going to have the best players play, that we're going to go to camp, we're going to find out the best players, and the best players are going to play.
Okay.
He left.
Left the meeting?
He went home. He left camp.
Oh.
He didn't have to report to today. So Friday, he got his stuff and he left. Saturday, he was gone. Sunday, he was gone.
Oh.
Came back on Monday because he had to be there today, Monday. So he shows up on Monday, sits down with the media, and the first thing he does is nukes the idea of him.
He's ticked off.
Yes, he's mad. He's even mad that they signed him, and they're mad that they would consider moving him, even though he sucks at third. Like, if you were a great third baseman, Bregman just won in the American League, won the Gold Glove at third base.
Right.
You can't argue that Rafael Devers is the better overall player because of his offense, but
right,
not because of his defense.
Right.
Like, defensively, it's not even a conversation.
Yeah.
You know this in the Northeast. Being a me guy in the Northeast does not get received well.
Done.
Does not get received well in the Northeast.
No.
You're making how much money, whether you play or not. You're making $30+ million a year to play a kid's game. To say I'm not moving, that's my position, or I'm going home. Like, fans get real pissed at that.
I mean, again, and if he was told, sometimes you got to just take one for the team in front of the media. Like, don't, I mean, it's February 17th.
Or beat them out, or play better.
Well, just February 17th, you don't have to do that. Now the
Right.
target's on your back. Now as soon as you make an error in spring training, they're going to go like,
See?
DH, Ruffy! I mean, it's and they're going to
100%.
say it with that Boston accent. They're going to be constantly on his case.
Devers, you got to get to the bench.
Right.
You can't throw, Devers.
Right. Yeah. You're killing us, Rob. I mean, like,
absolutely.
So many things.
Because he does kill them defensively. The Red Sox were the worst defensive infield in baseball last year. Only the Marlins had more errors than the Red Sox did. So, like, you can't even, like, run to the stats and be like, what do you mean? You can't replace me. Look what I've done. Well, Rafi, you're a left-handed power bat. Like, what you do is at the plate. We're paying you the money to be a productive guy at the plate. Baseball is an offensive and defensive sport. Like, you have to play out there, or we're going to DH you, which would be better off. Somebody asked him, like, could it help? I loved Cora's answer. They asked Alex Cora, is this where you could potentially bring in David Ortiz to have a conversation about what it means to be a DH? And Cora said, I'm the manager of this team. No one's talking to my players about anything. I'll tell him where to play. If he needs to be a DH, he'll be a DH. I was like, okay, Alex Cora. I was like, that's the right answer. Like, don't bring in the old school Hall of Fame DH to tell you what you can do. Also a left-handed power bat with the Red Sox. Cora's like, no. This is my team. Like, I'll handle my guys in my locker room. Thank you very much. So but this has got a drama fest written all. I was so high on the Red Sox. Like, they're going to win more than 84.5 games, bet the over. And then now I'm like, okay, I don't know if I believe that now. This
the Red
is bad.
Sox are only going to do as well as their pitching. Like,
I love their pitching, so I hope you're
right.
They say healthy. I love their pitching. They got, the top of the rotation, and they got 4 guys battling for 3 spots. That they won't be as good as the Yankees, but they'll be right behind them. Probably better than the Blue Jays and the Orioles pitching wise. So it's going to be fun to watch that from a pitching standpoint. One more baseball story. Vlad Guerrero wants to be paid. He has a self-imposed deadline for tonight. He wants a Soto type deal. If you look at the numbers, he's a right-handed power bat, not a left-handed power bat, but he's put up somewhat similar numbers in his career for the Blue Jays.
Deadline is today.
His deadline is today, or he goes to free agency. Either they pay him, or he's going to play out his contract and go to the open market.
So he's going to the open market.
And the Blue Jays are going to lose him.
When the player decides that they're going to impose a deadline on February 17th of the year before, I'm going to guess that the team is not going to pay him 99 out of 99 times. I was going to say 99 out of 100, because I don't think that the player ever gets to impose their own deadline and the team says, you know what, let's call him up. Let's sit down. Yeah, that's probably not going to work. Probably not going to work. So would I sign him? I don't know.
I wouldn't give him $700 million. I wouldn't give him
That's
Soto
what
money.
He wants.
His numbers are comparable. So he's asking for a long-term deal. I don't think he's a right-handed power bat, not a left-handed power bat. So that's the problem for him. So he's not going to get paid Soto money, but I'm not sure people would even pay him $500 million. I'm not sure he's going to get anywhere near. His weight's a concern.
The question is the years.
Long-term. He was a long-term.
Long-term is more than 5?
Yeah.
Then I'm not signing
6, 7 years.
Yeah, I'm not signing. No. I don't. If anyone gets, if we're trying to build a baseball team, I think I give you a 5-year deal, and I give you a lot of money for that 5-year deal. I don't know if I give you 10. You're saying he's going to be a Dodger, Roger.
Which is the new joke, and it's not really that crazy.
Damn it.
I mean, that's not even, pay him per pound. Well, that's one of the concerns the Blue Jays have, is his weight and his injuries. And
saw Johnny Parlay in the chat, JR33312. Back from my Monday work meeting. How about that 4 Nations over sneaking in bad beat for underbetters? I had it.
He had 7.5.
I had under 7.5. John,
was that the final number? Did it close 7.5 or was it in game?
It was
in game.
That was in game.
It was 6.5, wasn't it? for the closing number?
6.5 was the closing
Yeah,
number.
and then it went to when they
Went
scored
up
that
to
fast.
7.5 because they scored quick.
That fast, right?
And it was, I don't know, it was under 7.5. I took plus 110 was the first bet I took. That's terrible.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
To college basketball, the SEC has currently 14 of their 16 teams in the top 50 of the net rating. 8 of the top 25 in the net rating. Forget the AP bullshit. Like in the net rating, this is what they use to determine the seedings of the NCAA tournament. Almost the entire conference is in the top 50. Like that is ridiculous.
Pretty good call going to that, huh? Pretty good call we made going to that.
The SEC tournament.
For those of you that are not knowing, we are going to the SEC tournament. The BVB is coming to Nashville.
Franklin, Kentucky.
I'm looking at the hotel at the Mint at Franklin, Kentucky. Ideally, the show is going to be Wednesday. Ideally, we're going to the games on Thursday. And depending on how well that goes, maybe going to some games on Friday if we're not flying back to Vegas. But I can't wait. Like Auburn, Alabama was good television.
Auburn's got the number 1 strength of schedule in college basketball, and then they just beat the number 2 team on the road.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to bet the futures market at all with college basketball, you have to have a ticket on Auburn. Like you have to have it. Like you have to have it. It's required because if they play the way they're capable of playing and they shoot the basketball the way they shot against Alabama, there's nobody in the country beating them. They're the best team in the country. Deepest, best team in the country. Broom is unbelievable. Their guard, Petaway, is so fun as a freshman. He's so fun to watch. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be ridiculous to see. I mean, again, I'll say it again. I think winning the SEC tournament may be more difficult than winning the NCAA tournament, given the number of teams you're going to play and the number of ranked teams you're going to have to face back to back to back. At least you get a weekend break. You play 2 games and a break, 2 games and then a break in the NCAA tournament. You don't get that in Nashville.
Right. The path is going to be so determinant on that. And now looking at it, as you keep putting these things with these rankings and all these things, they're going to have 2 and 3 teams option, the SEC is, in each quadrant, in each region, I mean.
Yeah.
So if you have 3 or 4 teams in the East.
The NCAA, the projection just came out of the top 16 seeds. And if it played today, the SEC would have 3 number 1 seeds. Duke would be the
3 number 1s.
Duke would be the other.
And by the way, a 2, a 3, a 4. Like they're gonna have so many teams options. Where I originally said there's gonna be 1 SEC team in the Final 4. My goodness, there could be 3. The way it works out, I don't think there will be, but this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. The rest of February, that second week of March in Nashville, electric.
We'll get to the games tonight and better to book it, but real quick, DraftKings made an announcement on Friday on Valentine's Day that they are deciding to focus all their energies on in-game live betting come 2025.
Yeah, because they just made that deal with the live bet company. So they got to focus on that to make sure that they stay partners with them. It's a nice thing to say. I don't believe it, but
can they dominate it? Like what can you do to attract more handle in game? More opportunities, more markets, better prices, because I feel like people are generally going to bet in game with the book that they bet pre-game. And if you look at the Super Bowl, FanDuel took 60% of the whole handle off the Super Bowl. FanDuel took down. So if I make a pregame bet with FanDuel, I think I'm more inclined to bet in-game with FanDuel. No?
Correct.
So if you're losing your pregame markets, if you're not winning the pregame flop bet, can you really think you're going to win the in-game markets?
We'll continue to talk about this in bonus time, but I'll say it now before we are off the replay. As long as we are on the replay, actually, that's a good question. I think we are. I've been saying this for years, and people have been going, Dave, what are you talking about? You don't have to bet anything pregame anymore. You can wait till the game starts. You can jump in halfway through. numbers there. The in-game is changing everything. It's making the consumers have more choices. I think it's more dangerous because you can continue to bet it. Pre-game, when it turned off, and you lived and sweated and you didn't chase it. So you could chase it.
Somebody said this to me. They love this because they won't take big bets on anything. And it's an easier conversation to say it's in-game, not pre-game.
Well, it's in-game, and the juice automatically, like the spread, if they were legitimately doing -110, or even some books like Alex and Sports Trade do -105, -105. As soon as they turn on the in-game, it just became acceptable that they're both -120.
Right. And it's too quick to really go, hold on, I'm going to write a pregame story about a book being -120 on both sides. The market flashes, it's there for 30 seconds, and then it moves on.
When they first showed me, I'll tell the story on bonus time. Get us out of here.
For you guys who are watching on the replay, thank you for being here. If you guys are live, don't move. Bonus time starts right now.
Johnny Parlay said, our guy Kenny the Rat makes most of his bets in the first few minutes of games, not pregame. He waits for lines depending on slow or fast start of the game.
Yeah.
Kenny the Rat and I do a lot of the same things. That's, the fast start today, 2 goals in the first 5 minutes at a hockey game, made a game that closed 6.5, go to 7.5 with the juice under. I bet it under. It was the dead under for the whole game. That game's supposed to finish under 7.5. It loses. Just because you get a good number doesn't mean you win. But I'll tell you this, when they first showed me the new software for the in-game stuff, they said, watch it run. As it turns on, you can set, there's a function to set the hold. And it was jacked up. And I'm watching it going, why the hell would anybody bet this? Like, what do you mean? That's what it defaults to. And I said, well, we're in bonus time now? Yep. I said, that's fucking bullshit. I said, nobody's going to bet me into that. Why would they? I said, we got to change that. And they're like, Dave, what do you mean you got to change that? We developed all this software. I said, there has to be an override. I have to make this fair because I want people to bet it. You can't start it at -120 and then get worse. It was -122 to -124. By the time it was like the money line splits, they were only moving the favorite, not moving the dog. So it'd start, -200 and +140. And I'm like, this gap it's not even manageable. So I saw how it was developed and I saw what they did to it. They 100% want to focus on live betting.
Okay.
They don't need as much being right or even anyone know what they're doing. It automates itself and you can set, I hate to say it, you can make it a slot machine. Set the percentage and just make it make
That's
it
crazy.
8% or 10% hold. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's Dick Tom saying -135 on props overs and -140 on the same prop unders at DK. There you go. People don't even know what they're looking at.
Right. Because it's fast too. Like what I was told is that they can take and limit to $50 and say it's in game, $50. It's all we're taking. And they can watch your record, watch after the fact, watch it, and then shut you off and say, if you do well with in game, they shut you off and say, all right, you're too good.
With the props, you can make it small. Yeah. But I mean, like the in-game bets, if I got a guy, like I call them the former presidents, the guys that this group of.
But Deacon doesn't want those guys betting. They're scared of anybody.
Oh, they'll let them.
Bankroll.
They'll let them bet if they're betting 10 dimes a pop. They'll let them bet it. There's no reason.
In game.
Sides and totals. Yeah.
Okay.
Sides and totals. Totals not nearly as much because there's too much variance.
Okay.
But if a guy's watching the Super Bowl and wants to bet the Chiefs for 10 dimes and then wants to bet the Eagles for 10 dimes, it's handle. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been saying this. He said, guys, you see the article where the president of DraftKings, that's Jason Robbins, was saying that the bettors need to stop looking at gambling as investment and simply as entertainment. He said that up to 3 years ago. He's been saying this. Like, this has been a long-standing Jason Robbins refrain that gambling is not investing. Gambling is strictly, and he also has said they do not want winning gamblers to gamble at DraftKings. He has said that.
Well, I mean, if you can paint that narrative for 95% of people, it probably is entertainment. But
Right.
you have to acknowledge that the 5% of the people that are literally doing this for blood and trying to win every single dollar that you have and take it from you, you have to acknowledge that they exist too. Now, you don't have to cater to them.
Right.
Someone
want them.
will.
Right.
If you're catering to people that all think it's entertainment, you should 100% be able to make your business even better by taking that 5%.
Or have better numbers. Yeah. and not have the markets. Time for better numbers. All right, I only have a couple here on Better to Book It for us today. You can't do this, but I'll just get your take on it. I took Canada to win at plus 170 to win the Four Nations.
There you go.
Somebody put I missed it, but what we already have Canada, USA.
Minus 114.
It's a pick 'em. Okay,
Yeah.
so what? Just bet USA and just bet it for a little over to come back and be profitable on both sides?
You could. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
So now it doesn't matter
you're
who
laying 114 or 110 and you're taking 170.
I think Canada's going to win on Thursday.
Mm.
I hope I'm wrong. I want Team USA to win, but Canada it means so much more to them than us. I know it's in Boston, but like these guys will have a hard time going home if they lose this, given what happened in the first one in Montreal.
I don't know. Again,
It's all going to come down to the goaltending. I mean, if they play Binnington, okay, I feel better about Connor Hellebuck because I think he's the best goaltender on the planet. So
Saturday night was such a disciplined game. There wasn't a lot of penalties. The game's going to be exactly the same way on Thursday. I think it's an under game.
Okay.
If the referees just sit back and let them play, let them fight. I don't think it's going to start like that again, although they might bring the house down if something like that happens again to start the game. But Canada can win 100%. I don't think there's a shoe in either way. That's why he's sitting on both sides.
Yeah.
Wow, they came with 5.5. That's the right number.
Whoa.
That's the right number. I was hoping they came 6.5.
6. Not even 6. 5.5.
Yeah.
It's a championship game, though. You're going to pull the goaltender. If Canada's up 3-1, USA is pulling the goalie early. Get open net goals.
I don't know if a team will have more than one goal lead the whole time.
Well, Team USA didn't. They got open net 3-1 was the final with the open net.
I think it's just like that. I think it's a tight game. Boy, it's going to be physical as hell. My God, it's going to be great.
Is the old time? I don't know. Is the OT rule different in the title game?
I would hope they just play overtime until somebody does something.
Yeah, I think it's just you play off until somebody wins.
I don't know, though. I mean, like in the Olympics, they went to a shootout at times.
Kendall.
Hi, Kendall.
It's 1
o'clock.
o'clock.
That in her avatar?
Oh, she's off today. I forgot. Yeah, it's a good question. What is that avatar?
Who is that, Kendall? Who is that?
Interesting avatar, Kendall. It's President's Day. I worked for the University of Virginia. There is no school more closely tied to a U.S. president than Virginia and Thomas Jefferson. Built the whole damn school, mapped it out, built all the buildings. UVA at home against Duke, catching 14.5. Give me the Cavaliers on President's Day. Better to book it.
Let's say bet it. Seems like a good play.
I think it's too many points. 14.5 is a lot of points. 3 straight coverage for Virginia. They've been dogs in 2 of the games they've won outright in the last 3. They've been rolling. So Duke wins.
What's the total? 132?
So game's going to go over. Virginia's not playing. That's the other play you can make of this game is the over.
Lord.
Virginia's not playing. They're shooting threes as one of the best teams in the country shooting threes right now.
It's Tyler, the Creator. So old, bro. Bro, I don't know who Tyler, the Creator is.
You don't? Oh, he's tremendous. He's a great talent, but I didn't know. It didn't look like Tyler.
That's what I've heard. That's what she keeps telling me. But
he's good. Oh, Mikey, look at you. Mikey knew Tyler, the Creator.
Very
cool. That's great. And then finally, late night tonight, you want action, 10 o'clock Eastern, Baylor hosting Arizona. I'm done trusting Arizona. That team's broken. Give me Baylor at home, laying 1.5.
Really?
Yeah, that game against Houston was bad. They should have won that game outright. They fell apart.
Yeah.
They're not winning close basketball games.
I say book this one.
Okay.
I think they find a way to win. after losing. If they won the last game, then they'd probably be against
Lost
them.
two
here,
straight.
so,
Yeah. The desperation time for Arizona, for sure.
without a doubt. The game goes over or under Arizona.
This one?
Yeah.
Probably
Arizona
under.
Baylor. Okay.
Most likely I'll take under. Although I like the UVA Duke over more than I like the Baylor Arizona under. Favorite thing about today is what?
Over the weekend, just a tremendous day, Saturday. Got to see Kendall's last volleyball game with her team, because that team then goes and plays travel softball. So she had to go and do some other stuff, and I think she found a new home, at least for temporary home for volleyball, which is great. The hockey game culminated in an unbelievable night. But in the middle, I went to watch this 10U softball team. And Coach Brandon has asked me repeatedly, and I'm going to find some time, I think, to go back and coach. But I went, and they played one of the best 10U softball games I have seen in my life. It was 1-0 for the longest time. Then it was 2-1 for the longest time. They got an insurance run in the top of the seventh. You never play 7-inning games. Even the umpires were like, we still have time left, coaches. Like, just so you know, we're going to the seventh. No, you never get to the seventh. Your time restriction runs out.
Right.
They got an insurance run in the top of the seventh, and then had to hold this team who scored a run in the bottom of the seventh, 3-2 final. Team called the Tucson Fury. I was having flashbacks because the pitcher for Tucson looked like my oldest daughter. She had wore the glasses. She had the ponytail. Gangster, mad about everything, pitching her, butt off. Kids on the field reminded me of kids on the field. And I had one of those moments. I was like, man, I fucking love this game. Like, I just love watching these kids play and watching these, and they ended up winning. And all the parents came over to me after and said, are you always like this when you watch games? And I said, yeah. And they're like, we got a spot for you on the coaching staff.
Oh, wow.
And they took me to their post-game tailgate. They cooked out all this food. They had the biggest RV I've ever seen for these kids, like somebody's dad and mom bring this to the games.
Nice.
The cookout, the post-game spread was unbelievable. And I was like, all right, look, you guys get this last dub. They ended up winning their game, the late game, 22-5. Run ruled the team while I was watching hockey. So after this show, I'm texting Coach Brandon because they're playing in the President's Day, Valentine's Day tournament, where it carries over to Monday because the kids don't have school. So hopefully they're playing in the championship game. As soon as we sign off, I'm going to see if Kendall wants to go for the ride, go to the field, watch little kids play softball. It's awesome.
Very cool. For me, we got what we were looking for. Canada had to win today. Brad Marchand will play for Team Canada up against Team USA in Boston, in his home building.
Wow.
It's going to be one of the – I was hoping for this. I was like, come on, Canada. Like, I knew they were going to win, but it got a little dicey there at the end, 4-3, 5-3 final. Yeah. But it's like, man – of all the sporting events I've been looking forward to, it's like, come on, we just need them to hold their end of the bargain. And they did today. They got it in regulation. It's -115, -105 in most books right now for Team USA versus Team Canada. The countdown for that hockey game. And it's an exhibition game. It doesn't mean anything. There's no money on the line. This is strictly a bragging rights tournament that, by the way, didn't exist last year. This is the first year we've ever done it. And yet we're getting this level of intensity and this level of just attention on hockey that I only can hope will then help the NHL into the second half of the season, because it's been a very rough start.
How do you carry this over into, Hurricanes and Senators on Saturday night?
Don't know. I don't know, but it's hockey at least. It's something to watch. It's something to be a part of, because as I'm watching golf and I'm watching this thing at the SoFi Center, and there's, about to start the second event coming up here for the day for the TGL, the competition's only going to get harder for the NHL. You've got March Madness about to hit. You've got the Masters that's about to hit. You've all these different things that are going to get in the way of anybody watching hockey. So, capitalize on this right now, the NHL. Like, sell this, push this, get this out to as many places as possible, because there's not going to be a better sporting event in the month of February and maybe even the first half of the year as we'll watch Team USA and Team Canada play in Boston with Brad Marchand getting booed by the home crowd. How is this going to happen?
Set an alarm now, boys and girls. You will not want to miss that on Thursday.
Thursday night's going to be awesome. Guys, thanks for being here. We're back all week. We've got a lot planned. We've got some plans, things we'll tell you about what's happening next week and for coming weeks. So stay tuned. The schedule is going to get a little wonky for a couple of weeks for us for travel and whatnot. We're traveling. Dave's traveling. I'm traveling. Got a lot of things going on, but back tomorrow, same time, same place right here. BVB, Dave, Matt on a Tuesday on the Bostonian versus the Book YouTube channel.